But after a very dramatic week down under, we thought it was only right that we delved into the goings-on. So as well as taking a look back at it, and of course I believe this to be alongside your series.
Very good.
Saved myself. One of the best series that we've had. Because, Pete, you were in the series in 2004?
I know, that was a long
19
time
years ago. And, of course, Pete came second place. He did very, very well.
But also someone that came into the final that was second, no, was she third? Was actually my really good friend and fellow campmate, Jenny Bond. She's going to give all her thoughts on this series. And, of course, being a finalist... Hi, Jenny. You look lovely. Look how festive she looks.
I know. And, look, we're coordinating as well.
Yeah, you guys match. See, it's good that I'm right in the middle here.
Yeah.
Anyway, I wanted to ask you, Jenny, first of all, welcome. What are your thoughts? The final, you've been there, you've experienced it, you've smelt the smells and had those feelings of that, dreaming of that steak when you leave the jungle. What are your thoughts?
I've smelt the smells along with you, yes. And don't you take my second place away from me, Pete. I came second, you came third. 20 years ago, eh? We were together, weren't we, right at the end? Do you remember? We were just four of us. It was Brockett and you and me and Kerry.
That's right.
And at this stage, do you remember we were pretty exhausted, but we were quite elated to be almost at the final, and we knew what was coming. I think we knew what was coming, which is what they'll be thinking of now down under, which is the cyclone. Wasn't that fun? Do you remember?
Yeah, that was actually so much fun. I think when you get to that point, don't you, you're just so elated to have gone that far. You just don't care at that point. You know, being a finalist is as good as winning. I think that's how that's how I felt anyway. And when you're watching it now, are you almost like feeling like you're there?
Yeah. We do. You and I just know how it feels, how hungry you've been, and then you've got the prospect of a feast on the last night. Do you remember? You guys, you and Kerry and I were given a feast on the last night. And then I think individually they can choose now, but then you had to choose for all three of us. And you chose, I could have murdered for this, you chose sausages, mash and gravy, which I thought,
how do you remember that?
I want a seafood salad.
Well, funny enough, Jenny, and I want to ask you what you think about Nigel and you know, the full finalists. But I just wanted to ask you, I remember thinking at that moment how when I get out of there, I want to eat the biggest burger I could think of because we'd been starved for so long and people don't believe it's genuine, but you really do starve. And remember Razor Ruddock, how much weight he lost, and he was really struggling with that. But anyway, and I remember getting out and only being able to have a quarter of a burger. That's how much our stomachs had shrunk. Yeah. When you see now and you think that they're all at that place where they're just dreaming and wanting to get out, do you think that the right finalists or the finalists are the right finalists? That's what I meant to say.
Yeah, I mean, they're a really nice bunch this year. I have to say, I thought that Nigel Farage was a little bit bossy boots. Well, actually, a lot bossy boots yesterday. I mean, he's been called to his face a job's worth, and he is bossy around the kitchen, which I don't think goes down very well. I don't think he's very sensitive to other people's feelings. I don't think that he realised that Josie really did want to do the trial last night, but he pushed himself forward and said, I'm doing it. So I thought he might get booted out last night, actually. I don't know. I mean, his political support may be such that, in fact, he might be the winner, but I think probably Sam is going to get it, don't you? The child man.
Yeah, he has done really, really well this series, hasn't he? And Jenny, it was so emotional watching it last night. I was watching it with my sister. She was actually really crying watching the campmates reunited with one special member of their family, or in Sam's case, his friend Pete, who came along. That must be such an emotional moment after 3 weeks by yourself and no contact, no texting, no phone calls. It must be a really beautiful moment for those campmates.
It was very touching. I thought Marvin, particularly in Rochelle, was really lovely. And Tony, the big bruising boxer, he's an absolute softie, isn't he? He really is. But we didn't get that moment. Our loved ones weren't brought into the jungle, were they?
No, that's true. Jenny, thank you so much. Always lovely to see you. And thanks again for just being part of the Rumble in the Jungle.